Go. Hi, I'm Libby Mokros. Welcome to this next episode of Crash Course. Today we're going to focus on human population and how it affects Eastern Asia, specifically Japan, China, and Mongolia.
Let's take a look at China. China identifies as the main East Asian country in which has a republic-type government. The GDP, or annual gross domestic product, is $12.27 trillion. This large market is made up of a strong labor force with over 776 million people employed and has a low unemployment rate of 4.1%. The country, although very profitable, experiences a debt total of $5.2 trillion. The productive and booming country is made up of a very large population with over 1.386 billion people, with 6.5% of these people living below the poverty line. Such a large population has implemented such policies such as the one-child policy, limiting and encouraging families to only have 1 or 0 kids. The population growth rate is 1.09%. As seen in the age structure diagram, there are very few people in their pre-productive years in the population of China. Most of the population is in their productive or post-reproductive years, and which will lead to a soon declining population. 767.5 million people live in urban areas with a rate of urbanization at 19%. Like most East Asian countries, China's main exports are cotton, tea, and rice, and main imports include machinery and fuel. The infant mortality rate is 8.5 per 1,000 live births, and the country holds a life expectancy of 76.27 years of age. Mothers are typically age 29 at the time of a first child. China has the world's highest contraceptive prevalence rate at 79.83%. Natural resources in China and all of East Asia include fertile land for farming, coals, and different types of oil. East Asia as a whole is one of the most prevalent air polluted areas in the world. China also experiences soil pollution and desertification for means of economic gain.
Now let's talk about Japan. Unlike China, Japan has a constitutional monarchy. It has a total population of about 126.8 million people, which is substantially smaller than China. The unemployment rate lies at about 2.5%, with 16.1% of people living below the poverty line. Unlike China, the population of Japan is currently decreasing at a rate of 0.2%. Japan has a life expectancy of 83 years old, and the mother's mean age at first birth is 25 to 29 years old. The infant mortality rate of Japan lies at 1.9%, while the birth rate is 1.4 births per woman, which attributes to the slowly declining population. The urban population of Japan is around 78%, making the rural population about 22% of the population. A main environmental issue of Japan is the air pollution, and this is due to the high population densities in places like Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya.
Now on to Mongolia. Mongolia has a representative democratic government. The total population is about 3.1 million, being sustainably smaller than China but larger than Japan. Population below poverty line is unfortunately 29.6%. The unemployment rate is 6.83%, with 61% in the labor force. GDP is a stable 11.49 billion in US dollars. Sadly, the debt is about 79.4% of that GDP. The population growth rate is 1.6%, with the urban population being 72.8% of the 3.1 billion. The top 2 exports are tea and rice, while the imports are machinery and fuel. The infant mortality rate is 18 per thousand, while the life expectancy is 69 years old. Mother's mean age at first birth is 21 years old, and this can be caused because the contraceptive prevalence rate is at 48% in 2013.
The age structure diagram is fluctuating. Mongolia used to have very low birth rates, and death rates are very high. Later years show the increase in birth rates and also show the lower death rates due to the better way they live. Natural resources have a lot to do with the quality of life. Mongolia's natural resources include coal, copper, fluorite, and gold. But environmental issues also are a concern to the quality of life. Mongolia has desertification, inadequate water supply, and air/water pollution.
Excuse me, sir. What is the population of Mongolia?
He's nuts.
Okay. How in debt is Mongolia?
In debt.
That is correct. Excuse me, sir. What is the unemployment rate in Mongolia?
I'm not sure.
Guess.
22.
So, sir, what kind of government is Mongolia?
Communism.